Hey everybody, welcome back to Plum Figgy. This is Tammy. Okay, so gonna keep working on these little tab-bound journal flip through booklet things. I never know what to call them. Okay, so we're at the point now where well, let me slow down. Okay, so I went and did some stitching around the edge of each of the pages, each of the journaling cards. And so now we're ready to go ahead and add the tabs and construct them and put them together. So I'm going to continue with using my fabric scraps, and I'm not sure. I think for all of these, maybe all of them except for this one, I want to just use random fabrics because I think that'll be really cute and kind of more interesting. But this one, I think I'll use, just one kind of fabric or maybe several kinds of fabric, but neutral. So let me pull out some neutral fab. Ooh, you know what? I've got some of this. That actually would be kind of fun. Let's use this. This is from a dress shirt. So kind of fun. Okay, so the trick to doing this is you're gonna do, well, I have a video explaining how to do this in a lot better detail. So I might just go ahead and link that down below. But what I'm going to do is make strips of fabric about the same size. And I don't know how many we'll need. I might need more than just this. So I might need to cut up that. Or maybe I could rip this in half, and because I don't think I need them to be quite this wide. So let me rip straight down the middle. How do I? I didn't think through that very well. Okay, so I'm gonna mirror what I just did on the other side, because I like to have the torn frayed edges. So trust me, this will make sense in just a minute if it doesn't quite yet. Okay, so I'm going to rip down the middle, and then I'm going to rip each of these little tabs, and we'll have little tabs that we can work with now. I'll need to get rid of all these extra little strings too. Some of these might be a little bit small, so we'll see how this goes, but I think I got rid of that dark blue line, which is kind of a bummer. I was kind of hoping to save that, but that's okay. And I may have way more here than I need, but okay, so we've got our little tabs. They're about that size, if that gives you an idea. And we'll find out pretty quick if they're too small or not. But essentially what we're going to be doing is, yeah, this one's probably too small. What we're going to do is we're going to add 3 tabs equally spaced, so 1, 2, 3, and just attach it on this front side here. I want to make sure and get my cards fairly well centered. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm just going to use glue stick because I'm going to be sewing these when it's all said and done. So I just need to tack them down at this point. But you can measure it, and I think in my tutorial video, I was like being super anal about measuring and making sure everything's equally spaced, but you know, do what makes you happy. And right now, measuring is not going to make me happy. So let's see, make sure it's the right side up. Oh, you know what? I should probably have all the lines going the same direction from my fabric. That would help not create chaos. So we're just gluing those down onto the front. Now we're going to flip it around. And I guess as far as measuring goes, you want to make sure, and I should have done this before, that your tabs can fit in between each other. So maybe I'll have to do different directions. But on the next one, what you're going to do is line that up to the first one, but instead of doing 3 tabs, you're going to do a tab here and a tab here. So let me go ahead and add some glue. And if you don't want to go ahead and sew these later, sew the tabs on, don't use glue stick. Use a stronger glue, probably like a Fabri-Tac or something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to use this little bitty one, and the line is just gonna have to be in a different direction, I guess. So I guess sometimes measuring helps. Okay, so I've got those 2 pasted down. Now I'm going to flip the second one over, and we're going to take the tabs from the first page and bring them over to the back side here and tack those down. So I see I have a little bit of an issue now. So I'm going to reposition this just slightly here. Hopefully that's a little better. Yeah, that'll work better. Okay, so now I'm just going to add glue to the top, middle, and bottom places. And just pull that over. And I like it messy, but if you don't want all those little scraggly bits of fabric, you know, you don't have to use fabric. If you don't have fabric pieces, don't worry about that. You can use paper. You could use washi tape. I've seen people use washi tape. I just happen to have a lot of fabric scraps and I think it looks nice, so I'm going to use fabric for mine. So okay, next one. So we did 2 on the previous page, right? So we got to do 3 on this next one. So we're alternating 3, 2, 3, 2. Or if you start with 2, do 2, 3, 2, 3. And a little trick that helps me out, if I forget which one I'm supposed to do, just look at the one that you just flipped over, and that's the same amount of tabs that you need for the next one. So pretty simple. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some glue and go ahead and get my little tabbies put down. And at this point, it doesn't really matter if they stay super in line. I just think it helps me to remember where I put my glue. So again, do what makes you happy. And if it's annoying, stop and do something else until it's not annoying anymore. That's my biggest tip for you, I guess, for making journals. Oh, you can hear it's early in the morning for me still. I haven't had enough coffee yet, so you can hear it in my voice, I think, today. I wanted to get some stuff done first thing this morning, and then that way I could have the rest of the day to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. Okay, so now we're on our last page. If we add tabs to the front, then we're going to have to flip it over and they're going to be there and we'll have to figure out something to do with them. So we're not even going to add any tabs to the front because guess what? We've got tabs left over from the previous one that will end our book for us. So let's go ahead and just add some glue down here. You guys didn't think it was this easy, did you? It's really simple. And I have way more fabric tabs left over than I need. So there we go. Now I made this one quite tight in the spine. It's actually not too tight, but you could have more sway if you wanted to very easily by just not making the fabric tabs so tight to the middle, to the edge. You could just leave a little tiny gap there. I would say maybe 1/8 of an inch or so would be plenty, or a millimeter for in the metric system. But there we go. So now, if this was the only one I was working on, I would now take this to the sewing machine. And in the past, what I've done is a zigzag stitch, which I do like the look of that, but I think in this case I might just do a single straight stitch down, because I don't really want, there's not a lot of real estate here, and the zigzag stitch can sometimes be a lot visually. So maybe I'll do a zigzag stitch on this last one. So that's what I'll do at the very end. And I might set up my camera to show you how I do that. I don't think I've done that yet. But okay, so there's this first one. So I'm going to set this off to the side and let's work on the next one. So I've still got a few little scraps of fabric here, but I want some other little fabric scraps. So we've got some black. Let's do some of this. We've got a bit of this left. I'm gonna kind of conserve some of this fabric because I don't really want to use it all for this necessarily. But I think here, let's use some of this yellow. We'll get a good idea of, oh, this fabric is just, I don't know what kind of fabric that is. Okay, so let's do some more of that. I've got some of this here. And I won't use all of it, but bits and pieces of it will be nice. Let's see. No, that one's got pom-poms on it, so I think I'll save that for something else. Here's some pieces of kind of like upholstery fabric that were left over. So I've got a couple of pieces of those. Here's some more of this teal colored fabric. We've got some of that. There's this purple, some of that. A little bit of that. I don't really want fabrics that are gonna fray terribly. So I am trying to keep that in mind. But you know, I kept trying to use this. Let's use some of this. We can use some of that. Okay, I'd say we've got plenty to start with here, and then I can always come back and get some more if I need it. Actually, let's pull that one out. And this. Okay. Kind of just wanting different textures and colors and patterns and things. So I got little I got little fabric things all over me. So now at this point I'm just going to take these pieces and make them into tab size pieces. So really simple. You could rip if you wanted to, but more importantly I'm just trying to keep roughly the same size as much as possible. So like this one, I think I need to, I think it's a little too wide, so I'm going to take off that. So I'm just going to do this, and I'll come back and we can do the next little journal. Okay, so we've got ourselves a nice little pile of fabric over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing that I was doing before. Now this one is going to be a slightly more challenging one because obviously I've got a smaller page here. So I think I'm going to start with 2 on the front, and I'm going to go as, let's see, if I did 3, on the next one. So what I should have done is, I might need to still do this, make a piece that's longer and attach it, which I've done in the past. Let's see, so this one's, okay, and then this one's smaller, so we need to get this one. So if this is 2, 3, 2, no, we need this one to be here. 2, 3, 2, and then that'll be the end. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. I haven't done one quite like this before, so I guess we'll all just find out. But I think I'll start with some skinnier fabric strips on the front first, and I guess see how that goes. So if I do 3 on that one, then this one I'll want. Okay, so I'm going to keep my fingers kind of there, and I'm going to try and work around those to get the 2 kind of nicely placed. And then this, the fold in this is not helpful. Let's see. There we go. And let's find another. That one's pretty skinny, also very long, so I'm gonna trim that one down. Okay, so there we go. There's 2. Now I need to figure out how to place 3 of them equally, and so that they'll still hopefully hit the smaller ones behind. Okay, so we've got definitely one in the middle. It's gonna be our, let's find a bigger scrap for that, or a wider one anyway. So we'll do that, and then we did one down here. And then I'll do one up here. And I guess we're just going to keep these tabs a little closer to each other on this one, and that'll be hopefully okay. So I just want to make sure and stay clear of the 2 that I just placed. So I think I did pretty well there. Okay, so now obviously I just flipped that over, so we're gonna bring the 2 over to the back side. Add a little bit more glue here. There we go. Okay, now the other trickier one. And then after this one, hopefully it's not going to be too bad. So we need 2 more. I'm going to position this because, as you can see, well, we're going to have to pull this back around, and some of the top and bottom one I want to get onto this card. Otherwise it's just not going to have as much stability. We'll have this one in the middle, obviously, but I want to do as good of a job there as I can. So I'm going to find 2 more kind of skinnier pieces of fabric, but put some glue down here for my 2 pieces. Let's see, this one's pretty skinny. Not my favorite fabric, but used yet. Let's see, one of these yellow ones maybe. Okay. And then flipping this one over. This one's kind of a funny shape. But now I'm going to flip this middle one. We'll catch a tiny bit of, actually, tiny bit of the top one. And a tiny bit of this bottom one. Okay, so from here on out it should be easier. The one good thing about this binding method is that it's pretty forgiving. So, alright, so I turned 3 tabs over, so I need to put 3 tabs on this one. I don't need it to be quite that close. Help myself out a little bit here. Okay, so let's do some of this down here. Do a little bit of, no, I don't want that color. And some of this up here. Okay, so try and place this so that we can get our 2 tabs that we need to pull over positioned where they need to be. So I'll start with this one. And then I'll do this one, this yellow fabric. It's kind of a weird shape. It'll hold because I'll sew it, but it's kind of different. Okay, now we've got this one. So we'll need 2 pieces of fabric on here. So we've got some nice pretty pinks on this page, so I don't know that I want any kind of like reds or things like that. Let's do this one down here. I'll pull that up just a little bit. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, let's do this one here. That'll look good. Okay. Then turn that over, and I'm spacing them kind of as well as I can in between the other tabs that I just put down. So start here on the bottom, I guess. Flipping those over. So on some of these, as you can see, I've got a lot of trailing fabric, and then like this one, I may not want this to be completely that wide. So after I get done sewing everything, I may come back and trim these back just a little bit, but we'll do that after I sew because it'll be a lot sturdier at that point. Okay, so this is our back page. So remember, we don't have to add anything to this front side of the card. So we're just going to lay it down on the back side, and we'll flip our 2 pieces of fabric over. And then this one will be done. Really can't, I got strings all over the place. So that's how that one turned out. So as you can see, even when you have like kind of little problems, they kind of just disappear. I mean, you can see the fabric. Well, I don't know how well you can see it, but you can kind of see the fabric from the top and bottom of this one is a little bit over the top, but I think that adds to the charm. And like I said, I'm going to come back and sew I'll make sure and get the top and bottom of this sewn on pretty well, and then we'll have the stability from the middle one for sure. So anyway, so that's how that one's gonna look, and like I said, I'll probably come back and trim some of these back after it's all said and done. This one especially is a little bit long, but okay, so I think what I'll do is I've got 2 more of these to construct. I'm just going to keep using my little bits and pieces over here, and I'll put you on fast forward, and I'll come back when I'm all done. Alright guys, so I got that one done. That one was fairly easy because all the pages were the same height essentially. I did run out of my glue stick towards the end, so I switched to a different, my Barely Art glue, which also works. I I prefer glue stick for some reason on doing these. So, okay, so now at this point I'm going to take all of these to the sewing machine and I'll do some stitching to really lock those tabs in and make sure that they are not going anywhere, and then they'll be all done. So, all right, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so these are all done. I apologize. I did try to show you the sewing, but my little tripod camera holder thingy, it's a cheap one, and it's now in the trash. It wouldn't even hold my phone up. So anyway, I'll get a better one and hopefully show you. But the way I did it was you open up the first page, and I just sewed up and back. So I sewed down, turned it around, and sewed back this way, and then just did the same thing. So you always got to make sure to keep all the rest of the pages out of the way. So for the second one, you open up to the second page and then pull the other pages off to the side. And I did the same thing, up and back. Third page, the other pages are off to the side. So we've done these 2 pages, haven't done this page yet. So working on this page now, up and back. And then for the final page, you could, if you wanted to. I kept it this direction because, as you know, when you sew through paper, you will always notice which side is the back side. And so I decided to keep that back side on the back side of the page. But if you wanted to make it easier so that you could see your tabs and make sure that you know you're getting them, you could flip it over and sew like this. So that's essentially how I did it, and here's kind of how they all turned out. The sewing is messy, and that's the way I like it. And yeah, so actually I think I prefer this method without having all the zigzag stitch, but I suppose it kind of just depends on the style of journal that you do, or booklet. I keep calling it a journal. It's really a little booklet, but yeah, I did trim off some of these pieces that were a little bit longer, but most of them I kept the way that they were. So yeah, I'm doing a flip through now, but I'm going to do a flip through of these, and I'll put them up on my Etsy shop in case anyone would like to purchase one. And I'll link to, well, I don't know if I'll link to that video, or yeah, that video down in the description box, but I won't have that done for when this video comes out. So I guess if you want to check back, it might be easiest just to look back at my channel for the new videos. But anyway, that's the end of this little project. Hope you enjoyed it. I know I sure did. It's it's a really fun way to get rid of your extra scraps, not just paper but fabric scraps. So as you could see, I mean, I use little bits and pieces for everything, and really the only thing I didn't use that wasn't scraps were, you know, the elements that I added on the top, some little labels, and, you know, Tim Holtz people or whatever other kind of ephemera you might want to use. So these are really great little projects to do in between larger journals if you need kind of like a break from something that you're working on. I highly suggest doing one of these. Turn on a movie or a TV show that you like. I'm literally in the very end of Mayor of Easttown. It's so good. Such a good series, guys. If you have HBO now or whatever, HBO, definitely check that one out. It's good. It's a 7-part series. I don't know if it's coming back or not, but I hope it can. Well, I don't know if it will, but anyway, so yeah, turn on your favorite thing to watch, or a book that you're listening to, or some music, and just kind of zone out and have some fun, because that's the way I like to do these, and they usually turn out the best that way in the end. So, all right, guys, well, I'll see you all again very soon. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and yep, I'll see you later. Bye.